Oh man, that's nearby. The road is flooded. Altamont Springs. This is not far from here. Not far from me. It's like 20 minutes, I think.
They said that it did not have as much damage. They don't think this time. In fact,
This
they
is
did
in
put their
what county?
furniture up on cinder
Seminole
blocks.
County.
They did not go inside to check it, but they could just look
Wow,
inside
look at
and
that.
see that there was some water in there.
Look at that.
And as we were out there,
That's not far from
taking
here.
the canoe through this neighborhood, another gentleman came in through with hip
Altamont
waders,
Springs.
and he walked up to his home, and we followed him up there. Well, he looked inside, and he was fully expecting to find the home flooded, to have at least a few inches of water in there. But it turns out the job he did shoring up his home prevented water from going in there, and he was just a couple houses down from some of the main homes that we know did get much flooding in this storm. And you can see the water flowing. This is flowing downriver, and when we're out here earlier, we could see a lot of water flowing from the
road in
river
Altamont Springs.
out into this street. And then when we were done
Not
with
far
the
from
canoe
me.
that one of the neighbors let us borrow, it looked like the water may have been slowing down or perhaps even going back into the river. But right now, when I'm looking at it, it looks like water is again pouring into this street.
This is why I got
and that was the thing that we
uneven
experienced
videos.
back in 2017, was that the water stayed in this community for quite some time.
There's a tree
So
back there.
neighbors will likely have to be dealing with this for a little while
That's where the
longer.
mic go. That's
They also
not right.
experienced flooding here during
This is
Ian
the
just a couple of years ago. Neighbors told us the flooding here, at least so far, is not as bad as either one of those storms. So that is at least some good news for folks here. For now, reporting live in Altamont Springs, Jeff Deal, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Jeff said, Alexa just said that water's moving.
Yeah, Jeff, be careful. Thank you.
Somebody had another
All right, we want to get you
roadway
back to
that was
Channel 9's
flooded.
Shannon Butler, who's making her way back from the Tampa Bay area. When
Tampa
we saw
Bay
her
area.
just about 15 minutes ago, she was in the Polk County area.
Look
She
at that.
joins us live
There's
this
the road
afternoon.
flooded
And
out.
Shannon, you're in Polk County still with some of those water rescues happening.
Look at that.
Yeah, we were actually trying to make it to the water rescue. When we talked to you earlier, we were up on the overpass coming through the water here. We did make it through, much like these cars here. But when we stopped, we noticed all of these mobile homes here that have been underwater.
Oh
and then we
wow,
came back
mobile
here.
homes
There's a
underwater.
car coming. Let me just get out of the way. But look at the animals here in Polk County. Those horses in
shoot.
water up to
Yes,
I don't
stranded?
know, a couple of inches. They've been standing here. We looked on the other side, and there's a bunch of.
Yeah, but they're
Come
standing
over
there
here. Look
fine.
at this cow right here, wading through all
Just
of
have to
that
move to the.
water.
They need to move to the ground.
This is what the animals are dealing with too. Sometimes we forget
shoot.
about that,
Yeah,
but this
look
is
at
Polk
that.
County. There's
Cows
a
in
lot
the
of
water.
agriculture here, and the folks here are doing the best they can. A lot of these homes are underwater. This guy right
Wow.
behind us here. We just missed it for you guys, but he just put his American flag up there. His home did not get flooded, but his neighbors all along this road here do have water
Wow.
inside their homes. Up
at that.
here, just to the left, most of
There
those
was
homes
a
are
roadway
underwater.
somewhere
That's where
else.
we were headed before we stopped here just
And
to
it was
check on
flooded.
these folks here. Is your house flooded?
The road is flooded.
Hold on a sec. Let me walk over here where we can hear that. Which one is your house?
All the way in the back, the brick one over there.
And how much water did you get in it?
No, so far none in, but it's about like half an inch from coming in through the garage.
Wow.
And the whole yard has got about 18 inches of water around it.
And your neighbors here,
18
they have water
inches.
inside their homes over here?
I'm not sure. That's the
These
first
are
time I've
mobile
come out.
homes.
Have you ever been flooded before?
No, but we're relatively new to this area, so.
Did you expect this flood?
No.
It's a mobile home.
What time did it start
Area.
pouring in?
These homes can be towed.
And I just so happened to go outside and check the
I
garage,
think.
and it was just pouring
Mobile
in.
home.
And that's the flash, it was the flash flooding.
Yeah, I think so. It's right around the same time as the flash flood warning, so.
And that's what people
that red
have
houses
been
or
dealing
mobile
with
home?
all over. When we were in Tampa Bay last night, same thing. We were taking cover in our
I can't
hotel, and
tell.
all of a sudden the roads just
I
started
think-
to pile up with water. It was just an added
Look at that.
problem
There's
with
another
this
place
storm.
that
You know,
the
you had
road-
the storm surge, you had the rain, you had the wind, and now all of these folks here
They
are
commit
dealing
guilty
with this flash flooding. We know that the sheriff was out here just up the road here where we were headed.
You
He
have
was
to buy a
doing water
generator.
rescues for those folks that were trapped in their home. As the water starts to recede, people will start to be able to get out, but these folks over here would not be able to drive their car out
I don't have a
of
pause
their
button. I want the
driveways. Now
pause.
you can see like that pickup truck there. It's up, above its
Look
was
at
up
that. Here
above
come
its
a
wheels. The
pickup
water's
truck.
starting to come down a little bit, but this is what so many
Wow.
people are dealing with in
Oh,
all
that
of
part
our
of the road
counties,
is
from
fine, but
Tampa Bay all the way up to Daytona Beach. It has been a
wow.
very
All the way
difficult
to Daytona
night,
Beach.
and it appears a very difficult now day for
Wow.
people.
Hmm.
Alexa, Sterling.
This road is not too
Wow,
bad.
just incredible.
The other road
You
over
know,
there
to
is bad.
see
The
the
worse.
people there dealing with flooding.
I
Again, it
think
may
it's
not
in
appear as
Tampa.
significant as some of the other flooding that we've seen, but nonetheless, still some
Let's see.
flooding and damage there in the Polk County area.
Yeah, and impacting
Polk
people's
County.
lives, no doubt. Well, millions of people are getting back on the roads to head home after Milton. We know thousands made their way up into
Some
the
of them
North
have no
Central
power.
Florida area, but travel is not advised just yet. We have Lieutenant Tara Krasinski from the Florida Highway Patrol on the phone with us to talk to us about those road conditions. Lieutenant, we saw earlier some traffic really building up on I-4 moving westbound in Polk County.
Correct. You're right, Alexa. We want to remind motorists, if possible, to stay off the road. This is going to allow first responders
lady,
to do their
Lieutenant?
job effectively, as flooding, down power lines, and debris can make
Lieutenant.
travel extremely dangerous. Although, should you need to travel today or tomorrow,
They got different
please
ranks over
confirm
there. They
the
got
availability
lieutenant,
of
they
their
got
route by
corporal,
texting Florida 511.
sheriff
Lieutenant
deputy,
Krasinski, it's
and a
Sterling
sheriff.
Jones here with Channel 9. Incredible job you all have done, and just in terms of keeping
There's a
people,
spot there, man,
getting
that
the message out for
the
people to
road
stay
was
off the road.
really
But you
flooded
see,
up.
people are trying to make
I
their way
think this is
home.
Tampa
What
Bay
kind of
area.
issues are you having with letting people
Or
know? We
Tampa
saw a
area.
trooper earlier had to stop a driver who was trying to use that side lane that we now know is not open anymore.
Oh.
Correct, Darlene. The emergency shoulder use is no longer in effect. Everyone needs to continue to be aware of their surroundings, use the regular travel lanes. But the big thing here, especially on our interface system, is standing
What?
water. Some of these ramps, the entrance ramps, the exit ramps, you never want to drive through flooded water. 6 inches of water can cause your car to stall, and a foot of water can even float some vehicles. So you do not want to drive through that flooded water.
Hmm.
And Lieutenant, we saw a pretty big washout on the turnpike moving southbound right by Hancock Road in Lake County. What else are you all seeing on the
Hancock Road.
roads? And we know crews are already out there fixing them.
Correct. That's the biggest roadway concern at the
Hey,
moment.
County.
The Florida Department of Transportation is repairing those southbound lanes on the Florida Turnpike in the area of mile number 280 with Hancock Road. That is in Lake County. Traffic being diverted and exiting at mile number 289,
Wonder if it's that
which
up by
is US
Mineola
27.
side.
But besides that, for the interface system,
Hey,
a lot of
County.
the issues that we're currently navigating is the entrance ramps and exit ramps for that standing water.
Lieutenant, thank you very much. And we're thinking of you and the troopers out there continuing to keep drivers safe as we make our way through this aftermath of Hurricane Milton. Lieutenant Tara Krasinski, thank you again. We get you now over to Osceola County, where we have leaders giving us their first update of the day after Hurricane Milton.
50,000 through this program. Loans up to 100,000 are available for agriculture, aquaculture, small businesses, and loans up to 150,000 are available for citrus and cattle operations. These loans are intended to bridge the gap between the time a disaster
Citrus and
impacts a
cattle
business
operation.
and when a business has secured long-term funding. With that, I bring it over to Mayor Gonzalez with the City of Kissimmee.
City of Kissimmee.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here today. Our thoughts are with everyone affected by Hurricane Milton and those impacted by and damages to home and structures. Overall, I'm relieved to report that the damage in the city of Kissimmee appears to be minimal. However, this does not diminish the challenges many are facing. Let's continue to support one another as we work toward recovery. I want to take a moment to express my deep gratitude to our first responders and all personnel who have been working tirelessly before, during, and after the storm to assess the situation. We understand that this has been a challenging time for our community. If you need assistance, please don't hesitate to reach out through the appropriate channels. We are here to help. Finally, our offices and parks will be open to the public tomorrow, and all trash, recycling, and yard waste services will proceed as scheduled. Information on debris collection will be announced very soon, as we're still working on preliminary damage assessment. Thank you, and let's continue to come together as a community. I just want to add a little bit to this, and I'm amazed at how advanced we are, how we learn to work together. This is a united community, and I'm proud to say that I'm part of it, and I thank all of you, first responders, the staff, and everybody that made this possible. I say kudos to you. It looked like a monster, but came in to be a little lamb. And we thank God for that. Thank you very much. And God bless you. And I will introduce Mayor Blackwell.
Street light is down. Mayor Blackwell.
I am Mayor Blackwell of the City of St. Cloud. On behalf of the City Council and our city staff, we certainly want to express our relief that the storm was not as bad in our area as it certainly could have been. Our hearts certainly go out to those in other parts of the state who were not as fortunate, who suffered severe damage and maybe even the loss of life due to tornadoes, as well as those who have been facing extreme flooding. You are certainly in our prayers. Our city was spared severe damage, as you've already heard. Roads are open. Crews are working today to clear a handful of downed trees and large branches. OUC, our utility provider, is out working diligently. They've already restored power to thousands of homes. You'll be hearing more from them in just a moment. But we're grateful for their hard work. We realize that some of our residents have suffered damage to their property, including roof and fence damage or trees down. Well, the city's working to help make recovery easier for all of our residents. We are waiving the permit fees for roof and fence replacements that are related to the damage caused by Hurricane Milton. Please don't delay, get your work done, but as quickly as possible, go online and apply for permits, and our staff will process them quickly. We also are waiving fees for bulk collection of yard debris related to Hurricane Milton. We ask residents to gather down yard debris at your curb this weekend for collection on its normal schedule next week. We ask that you place smaller limbs and branches in your garden bin and cut larger limbs to a size of no more than 4 feet and stack them at the curb next to your green bin. Our Citizens Information and Helpline will remain open today until 8 p.m. and it will be open again tomorrow from 8 till 5 p.m. This is the number that you can call, 407-957-7161, or you can visit our website at www.stcloudfl.gov. We also encourage you to be a good Samaritan and to do what we've seen so many already doing, checking on your neighbors, and let's pull together and work and help each other make it through this cleanup. At this time, we'll ask the Superintendent of Osceola Schools, Dr. Mark Shenoff, if he'll come and share.
Superintendent of Schools.
Thank you, Mayor, and good afternoon, everyone. Schools are closed tomorrow. District offices are closed tomorrow, Friday. That has not changed. We are still assessing schools and work sites for damage. Currently, our maintenance teams are out surveying all campuses and district sites.
Wow, look at that.
Looking specifically at damage on the exterior. We are about 90% complete. At this point, there's no major damage that will impact schools opening again next week. We have a previously scheduled professional development day for teachers on Monday. So students will not have school on Monday anyway because of a previously scheduled professional development day. But we see nothing that will impact the school school district's ability to hold that professional development day on Monday. We have 5 school sites still without power: Liberty High School, Hickory Tree Elementary, Narcoossee Middle School, Horizon Middle School, Deerwood Elementary School. All shelters, as Mr. Litton alluded to, all shelters are closed. We had buses assisting with reverse shelter operations, getting individuals back to their original pickup locations out of the shelters. So I want to thank our transportation team for their assistance with that. I want to thank all of our emergency partners for their teamwork, and our SDOC team members from student nutrition, from maintenance, and our school leadership for the shelter sites, for their dedication for all of shelter operations. I had the opportunity to visit all of our shelters, and I was so heartened to see the amount of teamwork that was taking place, and also some real genuine, heartfelt interaction between those that were seeking shelter and our school staff. So I'd like to thank our heroes for that.
That's regular houses.
One last thing that I want to announce to our students, our parents, and our teachers is that we will be making an adjustment to the last day of the first marking period. I've received a lot of communication about whether or not there were going to be changes with the end of the first marking period, which was supposed to be tomorrow. We will be adjusting the end of the first marking period, and we'll share more information next week after we have some discussions internally about that. It's now my pleasure to introduce Chief Deputy Dan Weiss from the Osceola County Sheriff's Office.
This is Osceola.
Thank you, Dr. Chernoff.
Good
afternoon, and thank everybody for being here. You know, as a result of our community coming together, this is a
Stay tuned for more videos
positive press conference.
on Milton
In lieu of the
Altamont.
press conferences we've had the last couple of days where there was a lot of uncertainty. Our office has had a comprehensive response to Milton since the planning stages days ago. We have worked with our county emergency management team, the cities, and community partners in the preparation for Milton. We have been involved in meetings, resource allocation, and provided over 55 personnel in the sandbag distribution sites at Heritage Park and Celebration. For the storm activation, we activated over 492 personnel during a 24-hour period to respond to the storm. We also had over 50 apparatuses to include high water rescue vehicles, airboats, kicker boats, a Bearcat, chainsaws, drones, and that's just to name a few that were strategically placed around the county to respond to our community when they needed it.
That's nice.
Overnight, our agency received 540 calls into the communication center, and we responded to over 250 incidents. Most importantly, and I stress, most importantly, we had no storm deaths related reported to us, which is a big win for us.
Oh, that was a boat in the water there.
We provided safety and security for over 1,100 citizens across 5 different shelters in the county. We're also happy to report that we had no
I'll have to break this video into
and no curfew violations.
key moments.
We would like to thank the community for listening
It'll be too long for
and
to go
taking
through the
the
whole
storm
thing.
seriously. That was evident by the number of evacuations, shelter activity, and following our protocols during the storm. Our agency is now in the damage assessment phase and assisting with down power lines, traffic outages,
That was a mailbox.
and
That
several other
means
things that the community needs.
the flood is about
The Sheriff's
4 feet
Office
high
will
or
be
more.
open tomorrow and fully operational in our administrative offices as well as on the streets, as we always are. We are incredibly grateful for the amazing dedicated team that we have at the Sheriff's Office, our community partners,
Thank you, Sheriff.
and the community at large for coming out together during this storm. Everyone stay safe and know that your Sheriff's Office is here for you. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce Tiffany
That is a boat.
Henderson from KUA. Sorry.
All right, so that's Osceola giving their update.
KUA has approximately 93,000 customers. At the peak of the storm, KUA had 15,739 customers without power at around 4 o'clock this morning. And I'm
Oh,
happy to
that's a
report
power
roughly
company.
92% of those customers are now restored. And we expect to have all customers who can safely receive power restored by the end of the day today.
Safely.
KUA is following its 7-step power restoration process, and we are now on step 6, repairing neighborhood tap lines. After that, we'll move on to individual customer outages. We encourage customers to follow.
All right, we've been listening in to officials in Osceola County providing an update on how they are recovering in the aftermath of Hurricane
We
Milton.
take you now to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who's live for us in Sarasota.
Manatee, Sarasota, Hillsborough counties. We saw
Let's see what he got to
debris
say.
once it was clear there was going to be some type of storm this weekend. We decided to create a state support debris mission. And what we've done is we've mandated the landfills are open 24 hours. We had one county where they didn't have anyone there manning it. We opened it up forcibly, made sure that debris can be brought in. So that's Florida Department of Transportation. They've now deployed over 300 dump trucks so that work to remove debris 24/7, and they're going to continue to do it all day today, and as long as they can tomorrow before we start to feel impact from the onset of the storm. So as of this morning, Florida Department of Transportation has removed over 1,300 truckloads of debris.
Wow.
In a little over
1,300
48
truckloads.
hours. That's a huge amount. Now, there was issues. So the most debris was probably in the Pinellas County beaches. You also had Manatee, the barrier islands like Anna Maria, a lot of debris. That was our initial focus. Sarasota also had a lot of debris on their barrier islands, and I guess their contractor kind of left them holding the ball. So we've now surged over 100 FDOT vehicles between Manatee and Sarasota working to step in where the contractors left off. And we're going to continue doing that again all the way until it's no longer safe to do so. We've made a huge dent in this. The more debris we can get picked up, the less damage is going to happen, whether that's floating into the Gulf of Mexico, whether it's projectiles that go into other buildings.
Wow, that was last
We have
night.
hundreds of state search and rescue personnel, a total of 26 teams embedded in potential impact sites along the West Coast to begin immediate rescue operations as soon as the storm passes, should the need arise. I know a lot of people have left, and hopefully there's not a need for a lot of rescues, but those personnel will be there if they need. We have a 5,000 National Guard that are on duty. That'll expand to 8,000 very, very soon. We have a total of 34 search and rescue aircraft. We've gotten a lot of support from other states, and we thank them for that. We have 450 tactical vehicles, including 140 high-wheel vehicles, aerial water, and Brown National Guard search and rescue teams. This is probably the largest National Guard mobilization in advance of a storm in Florida history. We also have the Florida State Guard, 10 maritime crews, 3 high-water UTVs, 2 UH-60 Blackhawks, 4 drone teams,
the police are helping
15 cut and toss crews,
rescue the
2
people on boats.
amphibious rescue crews, and almost 200 Florida State Guard soldiers.
Look at that. You gotta use a boat to come out to your house.
Are being marshaled. We now have over 43,000 linemen who are being brought in from as far away as California. So we appreciate that for power restoration.
Wow.
We've also assisted with the evacuation of 300 healthcare facilities in the potential path of the storm. State veteran nursing homes that are currently located in the cone are accepting families of residents to shelter with them, as they are all built to withstand Cat 5 hurricane winds, and they're outside of flood zones.
You got your boat. Your boat to the water. That way you don't have a propeller in the ground.
Florida Disaster Fund. This was activated after Ian, Idalia, and Helene. If you want to support for Milton, go to floridadisasterfund.org. This is really, really significant way to help people. You should be executing your plan now. If you're going to get out now. You have time today. Time will be running out very shortly if you wait any longer. Of course, there's a lot of mandatory evacs that have been done. We have done the shoulders on the I-4 and the I-75. Veterans Expressway and Suncoast Parkway tolls have been waived.
Those can also be used as evacuation routes. I-4 is doing a lot better today than yesterday. Still traffic, but that's it. That's the norm for that. I-75 northbound, 20 to 30% higher volumes. Alligator Alley is pretty jammed right now.
Alligator Alley.
We have an unprecedented effort underway. I want to thank everyone that's been involved. It's not easy, especially when you've just responded to a Category 4 storm, Helene, to have it done. I know everybody's tired. Trust me, we get it. We're wearing out the Celsius at the state EOC, but what you're doing is important. Hang in there and let's get the job done. Okay, Kevin?
Hang in there. Look at that road is busted or broken.
Thank you, Governor, for your leadership and commitment that we had the resources that we need to
It looks
respond
like the
to
road
this
is damaged.
Unprecedented event. The State Emergency Response Team continues to work on more than 1,000 missions that the Governor's already mentioned.
Kevin
We will continue to fulfill these requests
Division of
24/7 as we prepare for landfall. Once the storm has passed,
Director.
we have tens of thousands of resources staged and ready to deploy to the impacted communities as soon as it's safe to do so. Life-threatening storm surge is
I hope
expected
the Spectrum
along
fixed my
Florida's west coast.
router
Storm
soon.
surge
My
values
internet.
shown in some areas
The red light is
15
on. See there?
feet. Counties from Levy to Collier have ordered mandatory evacuations, and I urge you to heed those
Spectrum
warnings
Telecom.
if you're in one of those zones. By now, I
The
hope
good thing
you
I'm able to
know
watch with my
whether
antenna
if you live
TV.
in an evacuation zone or not. But if you do not
Watch
know,
TV with my
please
antenna.
go right now to floridadisaster.org/know and find out if you live in an evacuation zone. If you're in a
Evacuation
mobile
zone?
or a manufactured home or in a low-lying flood-prone area, it is never safe to stay in that situation. No matter what year
Not
it was
safe to
built,
stay in a
you
mobile
need
home.
to evacuate. Please remember,
low
evacuating
lying.
doesn't mean driving hundreds of miles. It means just driving tens of miles to the closest friend, family, or shelter nearest you. I want to reiterate that shelters are free. Nobody is going to charge you to go to a school, stay in a shelter, even one of the state shelters that the state of Florida has opened.
No charge.
Shelters are free. Please make sure you
Shelters
bring your
are
pets
free.
with you. The state is
Your
going
pets.
to open a series of shelters to supplement county shelters. Should the need arise, we will be ready to take the surge capacity. Two of those shelters that we have already opened are Wiregrass Sports Complex in Wesley Chapel, Florida, and the Seminole Tribe Event Center in Tampa, Florida. I want to thank both of those private sector entities for their support in helping us protect Floridians. Evacuate today when you're told to do so. If you've been asked to evacuate and you ask yourself, should I would ask you to ask the next question, is it worth the risk? As the Governor said before, there are options to assist residents with evacuating. We have a
Evacuate.
shuttle system that the state of Florida provides.
Evacuate
If
if
you
you
need a
have to.
ride, you can certainly go to Lyft or
Man,
Uber
can you
and
imagine
put
that?
in Milton Relief.
People have to leave their
That's Milton
houses.
Relief to get a free ride, or we'll send a bus to pick you up. That number is 1-800-729-3413.
They send a bus.
Power outages are
Pilot
expected
number.
with this storm. Widespread
They should put
tree
it on
and
the
foliage
TV
damage
screen.
is expected with this storm. Right now is a great time to make sure all of your portable
Now
electronic
72
devices
degrees.
are
Oh, what
charged.
is happening?
Please make sure your supply kit has at least 7 days worth of food in it. Again, today is the day. Today is the day. Time is running out. You need to start to execute your plan. Please
Execute
make
your
sure
plan.
to follow our agency on X and Instagram at FLSERT. That's at Florida CERT. And on Facebook.
All right, you are joining us live here on Channel 9. It is just about 3 o'clock here on Eyewitness News. And we're going to check into this because we believe that news conference, which we thought was live from Florida Governor and some other state leaders, was live. But that may have been a replay. If you listen to some of the information, it certainly seems like
It was a
may have been
replay, it wasn't live.
from something that they shared yesterday.
Yeah, some of the stuff is worth repeating, But the other things, I do know some direct quotes from Kevin Guthrie. He did say those yesterday at maybe about this very same time. So again, we're going to verify a lot of things going on. I'm Greg Wormuth along with Darlene Jones. It's our 3 o'clock hour. Tom Terry is back with us as well. And the video, as we saw first light, it is absolutely
I'm trying to get
unbelievable. I talked to Alexa on her way out of the studio, and the road washouts and the flipping and the things that we haven't seen yet. We knew it was going to be bad, but did any of us think it was going to be this bad? Maybe not.
We are getting new video into our newsroom from the Lake County area. Our Channel 9 photographer was at County Road 473 in the Leesburg area. Take a look here at a very close call. I saw these photos just a few minutes ago, and what you're about to see here it is. 2 large trees fell just 2 hours apart.
My friend in Leesburg.
The trees did not crash into the homes here.
Wow. Leesburg gonna have power outage.
The wind gusts started picking up really hard, and then with all the rain we had already with that, when those gusts got really strong, you just started hearing
the trees falling down in his house.
Power going out, some trees falling, and then next thing you know, it sounded like an earthquake. Almost saw the rumble out front.
You have to run out.
Here, it's uprooted. Didn't damage the roof, but it was a little facial damage. Same with over here, you got the roofing from the trailer down that way, blew this way. Luckily it went down and didn't hurt anyone though.
Milton aftermath. This is Hurricane Milton aftermath.
We lost some trees.
I'll post this out.
Yeah, thank goodness that's the only thing they lost there. But you see how large those trees are, so it gives you an idea of just how
my tree is big, man.
The wind damage was there in the area. They're already cleaning up the mess there left behind. We also have some new video of the damage here across Central Florida.
Okay, let's take a look right now. This is in Lake County, Grand Island Shores Road, and by the title of the neighborhood, it is an island, and one tree took out 2 trucks. Darlene mentioned about how it was narrowly missing the other vehicles in the last piece of video. In this instance, that was not the case. Again, we don't know where those trees are going to fall, but most of the time when they do, we'll take a vehicle over a house. Not to make that light of that story, but there was a big house there, and they fell on top of that man's truck. That happened to so many people. I was driving in. I just got back to the TV station after just a quick nap at home, and there are trees down everywhere. And I've gotten some pictures and some videos from friends, including in Altamont Springs, where we see huge oak trees that have crossed one another and left the house. So, you know, sometimes they fall on the home, sometimes they don't. In that instance, they took out his trucks.
Chairman Jeff Deal is also monitoring the cleanup of Hurricane Milton, the aftermath, really. He's been in Seminole County, where they've had extensive flooding in the Altamont Springs area. Jeff, I know you've been making your way around there. You're now on what appears to be dry land, but there is significant flooding there.
There is a lot of flooding. I came up to the higher ground because I wanted to show you these cars that are lying on the streets on this neighborhood right here, and you can see all the cars leading down to the flooded area. And we understand that a lot of the folks who are in the area impacted by this went ahead and pulled their cars out and parked them at higher ground just in case it did flood. And you can see the city of Altamont Springs did put up this flood area ahead. They got it blocked off for cars. They don't want folks to come out here and drive in. But you can kind of see what the water is doing. It's flowing out here to my right. That is
I'll make another video
This is Little Wekiva Road. And directly behind the homes over here is the Little Wekiva River. And that's where all of this water appears to be coming from. When we were out here earlier, one of the neighbors let us borrow a canoe, and we were going down the street in between some of the houses down here. We could see the water flowing from the river out into the middle of this street. And obviously you can see what it looks like all the way down this street, just like a river of water. This almost looks like a lake or a river itself, and the water continues to flow downriver towards some of the homes in the lower lying areas. And these are homes that have flooded before. I know I mentioned to you guys earlier, we were here in 2017, and neighbors told us that was the first time they ever experienced this kind of flooding. And
first time they experienced this kind of flooding
inside their homes. One home that we were in back then had anywhere from 8 to 12 inches. Their was ruined. The walls inside their home was ruined. And folks who live here told us yesterday they spent 4 days trying to shore up their homes. And the son of one of the homeowners came over here and told us that they went over there and checked, and they still, after all of those preparations, still got water inside their home. And we did stop when we saw someone walking through in hip waders going to their home earlier. They had also spent a day prepping their home. They were slightly higher, but the water was up above their door. But whatever precautions they took to try to shore up their home, they were able to keep the water out of their home. So that is one success story that we've seen out here so far. And I don't know if you can see down the street the flashing lights. There's a car that's partially submerged. We went by there earlier in the canoe, and the water did not seem to be that high. It seems like the water has risen, and while we were here earlier, the alarm started going off on that car.
Milton Aftermath Live.
Also,
this
an
is
emergency
an Altamont
vehicle, high
Springs.
water rescue vehicle plow through here earlier, checking on folks. We did not see them pull anyone out of the home, which was different than what we saw 7 years ago following Hurricane Irma, where they were pulling people from these homes, and even people that wanted to stay in the home